This is the Daily Dystopia News Network. Reality reported before it collapses.
Good evening. Tonight, we count not the years, not the costs, but the lies. Big ones, loud ones. Ones that insult math, memory, and your intelligence. Welcome to the Daily Dystopia. Let's begin.
He claimed 17 trillion, then 18, while his own website whispered under 10. Economists call this creative accounting. Everyone else calls it lying. When the math is this far off, the numbers don't just speak for themselves.
Maryland's governor had glowing words for one particular player at this week's charity game.
He is the greatest shooter this state has ever seen.
But you didn't see this part in the highlight reel. The camera says no. Reality wins again.
Every one of these bars is a single drug boat. Watch what happens. 25,000 lives gone. And that's from just one shipment. Stack them up over a year, at that rate, we'd all be dead twice. Every drug boat kills 25,000 Americans.
When invaders become victims, history needs therapy. Watch what happens when we roll the map backward. The blame game in 2022 points at Kyiv, but flip back past 2014, 2008, 1991. Past Warsaw Pact ghosts and Imperial.
Behind me, locked cells, but lately, fewer people inside. The claim making the rounds is that entire prisons were empty just to ship those inmates across the border as migrants. Sounds dramatic, right? Here's the catch. I asked for names, I asked for paperwork, no one had either. The story keeps moving.
Video evidence remains undefeated. This frame, timestamped 12:14 and 3 seconds, shows a rioter's metal pole making contact with an officer's face shield. The defense insists there was no assault. The pixels disagree. You can see the arc of the swing, the recoil of the shield.
Fear sells better than facts. Take the viral claim that babies get 80 vaccines. It looks scary, right? But it's fiction. The recommended childhood schedule in the U.S. includes 14 vaccines by age 6, many given as combination shots. Far from overwhelming, those doses build protection.
He came here to save Los Angeles. Instead, he opened the wrong gate and drowned a valley that had nothing to do with the city's drought. Behind me, that's the breach in the Valverde Reservoir, a wall meant to feed pipelines south. Now,
every price is down, according to the man who doesn't shop, pay rent, or live here. Meanwhile, these boxes behind me are climbing like they're training for a marathon. Cereal? Up again. Coffee? Don't ask. Even the bargain beans are getting ideas. But sure, everything's cheaper if you never have to.
If you cut a price by 3,000%, math doesn't just break, it calls its lawyer. Look at this, my calculator is literally smoking. A price drop that steep means CVS would have to pay you to take the pills, and apparently, numbers aren't built for that kind of generosity. Word from the courthouse, I'm Chris P. Details, and my
You can cuff a critic, but you can't arrest the truth. In one town, bad reviews are being treated like contraband, editorials bagged as evidence. But outside the courthouse, the ink keeps flowing, headlines keep asking hard questions, and the newsroom lights are still on. Because criticism isn't a crime.
I didn't say I'd release the footage.
5 days later, Memory entered witness protection. The question isn't where it was sent, it's who they're hiding it from.
Your Honor, the defendant posted it himself. That's the entire exhibit. Simple as that. No subpoena, no search, just screenshots.
These aren't internet rumors. They're court filings, depositions, government memos, real documents. And they cover 30 years. But buried in this pile are pages that were never real to begin with. You can forge paper, you can't forge the truth. The so-called Epstein files? Made up. Lies don't last, evidence.
When you check out, that tariff, it's right here. See that line? A $72 tariff tagged onto the price of your new sneakers. People think foreign countries cut that check. They don't. It gets baked into what you pay. So who really pays the tariff? Americans do.
You might have heard that Portland is burning to the ground. That's what some folks are saying. But here on the corner of Alder and 10th on a Tuesday evening, this is what that looks like. One trash can, mildly offended by someone's pizza box, taking it out on the cardboard. The city, still standing.
0 murders. That's what the city is proudly putting on this board behind me. A nice, round, comforting 0. But you only get that number if you ignore all the murders. The ones scrolling right here, names, dates, whole human lives, somehow don't count in the headline. It's a statistic with an asterisk the size of the Washington.
These hotspots, they're not just marks on a map. Cache Desert, Sea of Thorium, Northern Crescent. Conflicts that have burned so long we forget when they started. We talk about them like the weather. Always there, never changing.
Canada. A new poll asked Canadians if the country should apply to become America's 51st state. 90% said no. At a town hall in Ontario, U.S. Congressman Cal Hover heard a very different signal. The applause you hear here is polite, like the head shakes that echo across rinks, wharves, and classrooms.
5 years. Zero proof, infinite repetition. Since 2020, state after state has combed through the ballots. Hand counts, machine counts, independent reviews, even reviews of the reviews. 5 years. Zero proof, infinite repetition. Since 2020, state after state has combed through the ballots. Hand counts, machine counts, independent reviews, even reviews of the reviews.
24 lies. 1 year. History was watching, and now, so are you. Good night, and remember who told you what.